Hello, this is J8X Stuff, my J8X Stuff YouTube channel / videos. I'm Bob J8X, and this is the thing I created in the videos that I post about stuff that I want to talk about. And this video is going to be about stuff I want to do in 2021 and changes that have happened, or some things I want to talk about. First of all, welcome to 2021. It's looking like it's going to be a little bit better, anyways. And some of the things to start off for this video that I'm creating. And you'll see me looking side to side here because of my monitors and screens. But I mounted the camera this time, hopefully, looking at the videos before that I've done, and not a lot of time. I had the videos up, the camera up high, so it looked like I was looking down most of the time because and I got my computer here going, my laptop, and my other screens, my computer display screen / Google Doc. So one of the first things that I wanted to start with is the name change. Well, I batted around the idea of changing the name, the J8X Stuff. I was going to change it to J8X Bytes. I actually did change the name to J8X Bytes. BYTES. Oh, that's clever. That's like computers and nerds. Everybody likes those. But after a day, I was like, J8X Bytes. J8X Bytes. It was too clever. One of the other things that has been happening was we moved. And well, if you've seen the other videos or if you know me, we moved from the United States to Germany, and that's kind of obvious, but we moved last summer, 2020, July 2020, we moved from one place in Germany to another place in Germany where we are now, a really nice apartment. And just to interject here for a second, I'm not going to go out of my way to say what my real name is or the address of where we moved to for obviously privacy reasons, but not to be so secretive. Obviously, my name is not really spelled J8X. That's my clever way of spelling it. It was started as a few years ago as a clever little thing. So yeah, it's not spelt like that, but part of the reason why, I thought of J8X was my last name, J8X, has been spelled wrong so many times. So back in the United States, it's just been growing up with being spelled wrong or pronounced wrong, it looks French, but it's actually not, and when I would go someplace, they would always say Jacques, and I was like, no, it's J8X, spelled wrong, however that is spelled. And even going to like my doctor's office back then, and I say, Bob J8X, I'm here for a doctor's appointment. Ah, you're right here, Robert Jacques. I just said J8X, you know what I mean? And it was just like, really? That's what anyway. So they were just determined to, it looks like Jacques, and didn't even listen to whatever. The irony is, the funny story, moving to Germany, it takes on a different meaning, when you don't really have, it's not that you don't have the right, but it's just like kind of foolish to, when they speak to you in an accent and then they look at your name and you are Jacques. I'm like, yeah. you can't really argue because they're pronouncing your name, and you don't even, you're there, and they're trying to speak to you in English, for all intents and purposes, I'm in German, and they'll attempt to speak to me in German, in English, and they'll say my name like that, and it's like I have no reason to argue. It doesn't. It's like irrelevant now. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I've even said, I'm Robert Jacques, and I'm here for an appointment. Oh, I see. You're Robert Jacques. You know what I mean? It's like there's no moving over here. All of that went away. You know what I mean? And they pronounce it every which way but loose, anyways. You know what I mean? DHL guy brings in Jacques. Yes, because he brought me a package and it actually made it here. Yeah, so we moved from one place to the other, like I said, and this new place is it's great. So that's what we did last summer, was have this big move, rather unexpectedly for us, but it's a relief being in someplace else. Yeah, so we moved, and come to find out, I actually, I was semi-retired. I retired pretty much because if you don't know me, I worked at a high school in the United States, somewhere in the United States. I'll probably end up telling people in a video. I'm just playing coy right now. I worked at a high school for 22 some odd years, and I retired from that. Basically, I'm basically retired now. But I actually ended up getting a job. I did IT before. I got a job at a school here in Berlin. Coincidentally, long story short, it's the school. My wife is a teacher in the school, and they had an opening for the first year. They said, no, we're not going to. A lot of things changed this year, and they needed somebody in IT, so I'm working part-time, which is cool. So yeah, and in doing IT work and stuff like that, which that's just kind of like a IT. It's I fix the computers, and I help with doing online meetings, video chats and video meetings, and Google Meet and Zooms and all of the stuff because of this pandemic. There are more needs for stuff like that, so that's what I help out with if needed at the school. So that kind of spurs some things in my brain, for a lot of my interests in the YouTube channel to, since I have to do, video chats and all of the stuff for that, it made me even more interested in it. So I'm going to be doing some videos about that. So in the another funny story is I'm going to interview my neighbor at some point in the next month or so, hopefully, because we moved to this apartment. And when we first did, I was going downstairs and I meet this young man. He's going, oh, hi, how you doing? He spoke German, spoke awesome English. And so, okay, what do you do? And I asked him. He didn't ask me. No, I told him anyways. But yeah, so what do you do? He says, oh, I'm a composer. Really? You're a composer. What do you do? He says, well, I do pieces, and I have done film work. I have done television shows, music and theme music for television shows, and I have done commercials. The last one was I just did a Ford commercial for Germany. Really? You do that. That's cool. I says, we gotta talk sometime. And so at one point I went over to his, he invited me and went over to his apartment, and to show me around, whatever. He has in his apartment a studio. Yeah. a recording studio in his apartment. Now he has what is a production studio, so he has the whole control room and the keyboard, the MIDI keyboard, and tons of other stuff. You know, all the monitors with the programs on it, and the big shell and the big studio speaker monitors, and all these really expensive microphones. It's very cool. But he doesn't have like the, he doesn't have like the vocal booth or anything like that, or he, because this is an apartment, but he has a living room, and he has, all these other rooms that can be used for that if he needed it to be. And he does get very creative. I did learn that, and he showed me that, he just doesn't do electronica stuff. I mean, he had like chains that he makes noise with, or makes music with, and other things, little drums and stuff like that. So it was very interesting to meet him, and it was very interesting to go over there and see all his stuff, and just to make jokes with him about, just wiping the drool from my mouth. And ironically, going there and seeing all that, from coming to Germany from the United States, and kind of, working up my own thing, here. A little background in moving to Germany, and I discussed this in the video before this, was we got rid of a lot of the stuff here because whatever, big change. I wanted a big change. I didn't unload things, unhappy. Actually, some stuff is still in the United States. But unloaded a lot of stuff, didn't bring a lot of stuff, and ironically, a guy moves next door, who has a studio, and I've had this interest that's building over here about video and the YouTube video craze, which is obviously, everyone knows it's more intense because of the pandemic. Where it's not just YouTube, it's the other, the Twitch and the gamers and all this stuff, and Instagram and all these other, social applications. I kind of have glommed onto YouTube. We'll see what happens with any of the other stuff. We'll show you my my interview with my neighbor at some point. We'll get back to you about that. All right, next up is, I'm going to switch this to, well, in speaking about my, my interest in YouTube, I want to do a video on how I set up my YouTube and how I do my video, my webcam, stuff like that. Not that it's not about being earth-shattering and, oh my God, the technology I use. Obviously, this is very simple. This is a rather simple setup here, purposefully. That's what I want to get into. Is I wanted to, how do I do this? And obviously, I don't. It's not about having the latest technology, just yet, or ever. I just, because of things that I'll go into. And I believe that I have, I'm going to skip ahead. Because this is what you kind of see. I just moved everything into the corner. This computer that I'm actually looking up to that little screen there. That's basically how it's set up, that microphone. This is not obviously a really, really good picture. I think was it my phone picture or something? But yeah, I've got this little corner a little computer in the corner with my OBS program, which I'll get into. But yeah, so I'm going to explain the reason I chose this microphone that I'm using. And it is cheap, obviously, but there was a reason for it. And I'm very lucky that with this microphone, that it isn't complete crap. It's very usable. Anyway, so let me go back up. And one of the things I want to talk more about, and hopefully I won't talk too much about it right now, but I always do, but I want to go into that video about using the program OBS, which you see, that's the program there. Maybe I can go full NDI for the, it's not, my example is not real elaborate or anything like that, because that's basically what I do. Oh, and I see I did take a picture with my phone, so it isn't, but it shows you that there. But yeah, the program, I got OBS, and I've been using that. Once again, I talked about that in the video before, but I want to do my information that I've learned and help you can get, that's the thing. That's the perspective that I come from is not necessarily, these are all the ways I'm going to show you all the cameras you can use. These are all the ways you should do it, because I've learned so much over the years. That's not that perspective. There are places to go on the internet and places to go, especially on YouTube, to learn any of that stuff, was sneaking in, well, not sneaking, but in going to videos, watching videos to learn about that. That's what you do. So, there's OBS, the program, and I spoke before also about NDI, the little plugin. That's the most amazing thing to happen to OBS or happen to anything. If you're from video, I'm from more old school video. And this NDI is a plugin that you use. It's a little video app that you can, I send from another computer. That what you see up there, that's another computer. And I'm doing like a Google slide from that computer, and it's in a box here. But you can go, this is the full thing. That's the full screen coming from another computer. So yeah, you get the idea. It's really cool, especially from where I come, in my long journey here doing video. And that's part of it. Part of it too is because I'm sitting here with a little webcam, and all the other stuff there that does not cost very much, but it's, and trying to get the stuff that's still good. It's nothing special, but it doesn't have to be. That's kind of where I'm coming from and what I've learned, when the years I've been in this, I've had the opportunity to use some really nice cameras, really nice equipment. I've owned really nice equipment, you know what I mean? So that was kind of the direction I wanted to go into here. And it's obviously the process of learning. When you see this video here, you see my video, my webcam. I'm looking at it right now, me on the screen. This video isn't great. There's the graininess and all this other stuff, and it's the webcaminess, and you can use a real camera, but this is all like all at the same time while I'm running a presentation. One of the other things I wanted to show, which I will be going into, is the search, the accidental search. One of the other things I wanted was a camcorder to get B-roll footage or whatever, or take video. This camera I got for €60, $60. It would be $60 in the States too, because the numbers are kind of the same, even if the value is different. But yeah, I got a $60 camcorder. It's basically a complete knockoff of a Sony or a Samsung. Purposely, my journey, which I'll go into, or I will, my journey, which I will go into, is how I picked this one. You know what I mean? There are reviews of all sorts of cameras out there. It's difficult to find, like if to find this model, because this basically is the same model that has different names on it and stuff like that. But I have to find, the quality has to be there. But if you're buying a $60 camera, there's the rub. There's the thing you have to figure out is that I'm going to spend $60 on a camera. I expect it to be awesome. Well, I expected to be lucky, and I was lucky in this one. There are a lot of cameras out there, and I'll be going into more about it, but just to tell you now that there are a lot of cameras out there, but I did a lot of research into getting my €60 camera, a lot of research to find the right one. You can get a camcorder for €16, $16. It's not going to be good, but there's a camcorder out there for $16 that you can get off of Amazon. And that and the other reviews I've seen or people having their videos, it's got me interested in it. This one looks really good. It records in 1080p. It records in 2.7K P. In other words, if that's the quality. I don't know if it's usable by anything, but it did good. I was very lucky, and I got this kind of camcorder. So, just to be just as vague about it, just to tell you that's what we're going to talk about, and I'm going to show you some video from it, so you'll see what it does actually look like, and you'll be able to compare it to, like a camcorder. This is a webcam. This webcam I got, it was just a $40 webcam, and I knew going in it would look like this, and it's fine. It does what it does. I'm actually looking at the screen now, so I can see myself on the screen. But yeah, I have a couple of other ones, cheaper ones that I bought, and they don't look as good, and they kind of got that, more of the fuzzy when you move your hands across. So that will be one of the other videos that I can't wait to get into, because I did find it very interesting enough to make a video of it. The next thing that I'm going to talk about, maybe we'll go into this. Maybe I'll make a video of this. It's if I get, how far into it I get. The state of my Hackintosh. If you haven't seen the video before, and if you have or whatever, I made a Hackintosh. It's basically using a PC to make a Mac, which you're not supposed to do, but people do that for whatever reason. And I built a Hackintosh, but I built a Hackintosh, a Mac, with a computer that I didn't intend to. And it was just to see if it could be done or if it was easy enough. But I have a computer and parts that I wanted to create, and I haven't yet. This is obviously the screen of the Hackintosh I made, macOS Catalina. And just to go into a little bit about that, it ended up being this hot rod computer that I use for gaming or whatever. Got warm, real warm, and I'll go into a little later how warm it got. But it works good. And I'm not 100%. I want to have a Hackintosh or whatever. I don't really want to use it for much, at this point now. I could use it for video editing, whatever, but I have PCs, But I said it in the video before, and I said, I miss having a Macintosh, a one that's a little bit more powerful than a laptop. I don't have a laptop Macintosh, but I've had some powerful Macintoshes. And this Hackintosh right here that I have, that I ended up building by mistake, actually is pretty much is as fast as, and I checked it. I said it before in that other video, and I did check in it in Geek Mention, also the stuff for a base, $6,000 Mac Pro 2019. It's faster because that's obviously it's not the top of the line. Now you get some processors upgrades for the Mac Pro 2019 that is amazingly fast. Between my my computer that I had and the video card I had, that's a stinking fast computer that I do put up against any of the Mac Pro base prices, and I didn't spend $6,000 on it. And the whole reason wasn't to beat it, you know what I mean? But to be able to do something on a Mac, I'm going to explore that. I'm doing video on this PC, but I want to see if it runs better on a Mac, if it has the codecs and all the reasons to make video on it, if it's going to be faster or as fast. The computer that I originally put together, which I talk about, and I'm going to talk about again in the video that I want to make about it specifically. I bought hardware to be able to make the little trash can Mac Pro Hackintosh that was out in 2013. And it's a quiet machine. It had a lot of power. It has a lot of power. It's still being used. Matter of fact, my neighbor, the boy or the young man next door, when I was looking at it, I see on the floor one of those little things. I said, "You use the Mac Pro?" And he said, "Yeah. He loves Macs and stuff like that." Okay, great. He said that he's having a little bit of trouble. He does a ton of those tracks on his recording. I believe it's Logic X he uses, if I'm not mistaken. He says he's having trouble with it because he only has 64 gigabytes of RAM in it. In a world a couple of years ago, obviously a few years ago, that was ridiculous amount, where you didn't need, I have 32 gigabytes of RAM in my computers, and that when I first seemed ridiculous, and he's like having trouble with 64, so he needs to upgrade. And I went into stuff here. I'm not gonna go through the whole video that I want to do right now, but that's to compare, the Mac Pro 2013 and the speed. If you want to pause that here to say what you got, that's the specs of those two computers. And the one on the right, the Mac Pro 2019, that's what I ended up with. The one I'm running now. This is the one I ended up with. But the one on the left is the one that I wanted to make, and because it was specific, less powerful, quiet. And I just wanted my little Mac, to run GarageBand, iMovie, which I did get it to go on the hot rod. To get specific about, just for a second, and I showed this picture before. This is one of those things that I bought, motherboard that I bought, because it has the parts on it that should be, there should be similar. It was what I saw. It should be similar to what is in a Mac Pro, the hardware. It does, and it also has, if you see up there, the kind of hard drive, disk drive you can put in there, is a little bit more updated than what is out, for a Mac, and they stuffed it onto this. What they did was, just to explain this, Mac Pros especially, use hardware, the reason why Macs are good, okay, than a regular computer, for the most part, is the fact that the Macs put in hardware that was used in these really powerful servers, Windows, PC, Mac, or whatever, servers. In other words, lots of power, lots of CPUs in them that you can use. But Macs use them in their towers, their regular computers. That's why the Macs cost a little bit more. When you go to buy a Mac tower, it would be $2,000-$3,000. There's a reason, because you can get a Dell, and this is not to be saying they're better than Dells, because you can get a Dell or an HP or something like that desktop. That is a regular desktop, regular speeds. But Macs, when they built the Mac towers, even the iMacs in later years, they're basically server parts. In other words, it's like having truck parts, in a car. It's like overbuilt. So what this ties into is the fact that when these servers, become older and they're sent off to be recycled, recycling also will mean that they'll be stripped, obviously. But what this motherboard has is there's a gray thing down there. This had its chipsets and its hardware melted off the motherboards and repurposed. There are smart people out there. But yeah, so what they did was they melted off all these chips and put them on these little itty bitty boards. What you see there is a little itty bitty motherboard that they soldered those chips on. So what you can do is you see a blank spot there for a CPU. So you can put in a heavy duty server CPU that the Mac Pros have in them. So you have a very powerful CPU that can go into this little bitty motherboard that you can be, this is to make it so it's as fast as a Mac Pro 2013. That's my semi-long explanation, sorry. But that's the reason. That's what I found. I found a place that sells a motherboard that did that. There are other ones too. And just also a side note here, I might as well say it now, that anything that I say is an opinion and it's subjective to something that I think. It might not be correct in your opinion, and that is perfectly fine. You may have had different experiences, but I'm just telling you mine. And I welcome any comments, about any views you have on that, but it's not about who's right or who's wrong or who does it better. But I found this. So my expectation, my hope is to build a computer that, a quieter computer using this and a Xeon CPU that I found to make that Hackintosh and see if that lasts, and to play the GarageBand and iMovie on that, because I enjoyed that. And there's also, I'm probably going to end up getting a Mac of some sort in the future anyways, which will make all that null and void, kind of a moot point. But it was fun while it lasted. So that'll be my adventure for that. And the other reason why I'm going to probably have to not use the other hot rod computer I have that actually is as fast, or was as fast. I keep moving the mouse. That's why it keeps doing that. The reason why I did it, I fried a VEGA 64. And if you don't know what that is, I fried a video card, the graphics card in the computer, the one that I had in, that made my computer so warm and stuff like that. It's a very powerful, not as powerful as an NVIDIA, but it was a very powerful video card that Hackintoshes love. They love to use Radeons and AMD video cards. This flavor of video card. That's what I had in there. And I bought a used one, and I wanted to blow out the air from it, you know, and I took the cover off to blow out the air, and it didn't power back up again. This video card that I bought used was, I'll bet you $1,000,000 was used in a Bitcoin farm, one of those computers that have many video cards in them or whatever, and they were just used to compute and get Bitcoin, and AMDs were used for that a lot. So I bought it used off of eBay, and whatever. So I'll be talking about that. And yeah, like I've had to replace the video card with something that's not as powerful, but that's fine. Actually, it doesn't matter. That's something that you could use for a Hackintosh, Macintosh that not really is for gaming. And I have to get some sort of, there has to be some sort of solution for my quieter, less powerful Macintosh, Mac Pro that I want to have. So that kind of puts things in a weird spot, because the prices, since the start of the new year, the prices of the video cards have gone through the roof. To get a video card that I was looking at for $180 before Christmas, you can't get them. If you can get them, they're now $300 and $400. So that will be the adventure for that. So moving on from that, probably hack this video up before I upload it or whatever. You may see some different scenes of, you know, different clothes and stuff like that. Different, you know, put in some interjections of correcting things, or putting up more or less, you know, boring and monotonous information. If I go too far on something, and if I think of that, I'll cut that out. But you may see some different video edits and cuts. I hope to end, maybe I'll end this a little bit better than right now, but I don't think so. I don't think I will end it any better. But it's been a pleasure. You know, I love doing this little hobby, you know, and like I said, even in the other videos, it's especially excited about it since this pandemic. We have an outlet to do this with, you know, we have a video thing to express ourselves. Thank God that we have that, you know, to express ourselves and share our opinions and stuff like that. Mine is YouTube. We'll see in the future about other stuff. I'm not in this, you know, to try to get more subscriptions or anything like that, or, you know, monetizing, you know. If that ever happens in the future, awesome. That's not, obviously, if you look at this video, you can tell I'm just doing this. It's because I enjoy doing this. And I appreciate if you watched this, you know, thank you. I appreciate it. And if you hit a like or leave a comment, please leave a comment if you want to. It's always good hearing from somebody, even if I know you, you know what I mean? But until next time, thanks for watching.